Hey everyone, welcome back to Vibes and Vines. I'm Kira Matalasi, a plant mother and a music lover, and today I'm going to be switching things up a bit. Instead of music, instead of plants, I'm going to be giving you a quick summarization, no spoilers, I promise, about my thoughts about Jennette McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. It's amazing. It's a really good book, so I'm excited to get into it. If you haven't already, go ahead, click the thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and click that notification bell if you're a real one. Once you've done all that, go ahead, sit back, relax, and get ready to hear my thoughts on I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. And my initial expectations were excitement and intrigue. So I feel like I related a lot to Jennette's character on iCarly, Sam Puckett, just because I was a super big tomboy. Like, I played football every single day at recess with the boys. Like, I was just really into physical activity. So I really liked that aspect of her character. But I really was ready to support someone who's, talking about their unhealthy family dynamics, because as healthy as anyone can be, there's always these little things in life that kind of get swept under the rug. So I'm really all for, people in general, but people in the public eye, to talk about that and get it out and be brave and express themselves and their stories, because I feel like when people on a bigger platform say it, it really gives people the confidence to speak about that and address it in their personal lives. So those are my initial thoughts about it. So my mom and I were already talking about like wanting to read the book and blah, 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 blah. So once I got an option to pre-save, because we both, she let me use her Audible account with the credits on there, I was like, oh my gosh, I used one of the credits. And she was like, And I was like, what? And then she was like, yeah, that's still money. Like, that's money I pay for these credits every single month. It's not just like a free thing you could use. And I was like, oh, but you said I could use them. And she was like, yeah, but you had to come to me if you were going to use them first. And I said, oh, if you're sharing an Audible account with anybody, just know that they're not free credits and they don't just accrue like that. You have to pay for them. So the more you know. Yeah, those are all my initial expectations. And now I'm going to get into my biggest takeaways from the book. And the first and arguably most important one is that you don't know what the fuck people are going through, especially celebrities, because Hollywood loves to paint the glitz, the glamour. Everything's perfect. Everyone's skinny, everyone's perfect, and even if they're curvy, they still fit the mold of perfection. Hearing her story really blew me away in when she was discussing her eating disorder. Like I said, this is not a spoiler. She's talking about this in interviews. But when she's discussing her eating disorder and how that came about, because I related so much with Sam on iCarly, I was like, oh my gosh, how is she like, because she's like 6 years older than me. So but somehow in my mind, you think they're the same age as you when they're really not. But I remember being like, oh my gosh, like, how does she have boobs and she's still super skinny and her character eats so much, she probably eats so much, how does she stay so skinny? And I was really just thinking that because I'm always, I'm kind of, you see my shoulders, like I'm built bigger, but I always wanted to be smaller. I wanted smaller shoulders, and it really helped me put into perspective about just how society views bodies, especially women's bodies. The petite, young girls are like fetishized and just all this disgusting stuff, and you want to look younger so you're more appealing to men, and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Gross. So really just help my inner child be acknowledged. And I feel like that's what Jennette's doing throughout the entire book, is this really seems like a healing process for both her and her adult life, but also like getting out all the stuff that she wanted to say throughout all these years that she wasn't able to because of her situation. The second takeaway I got was this book reaffirmed how fucked up the industry is, especially for kids. And I know, I think Jennette put it perfectly in an interview when she was talking about how when you're a kid in the acting game, you're in an adult's realm. Like, the industry is not catered to children. You're in the big leagues. You're with directors who are working with adults a lot of the time, and you're on adult schedule. Kids should not have to be getting up this early for call times, worrying about all of this. You should be worried about really simple things because you're a child. You shouldn't have to feel all the weight of juggling everything all the time. I really related to that when she said that, because I don't talk about this a lot, but there was like 3 years, like between 9 and 12, that I really, really wanted to become an actor. It was weird because I felt good about myself, but at the same time, I know Jennette talks about like the feeling of like you have to be so, like, everything's a competition. She just talks about a lot of directors kind of like to pit the other people against each other, and that's what she means when it's like an adult world. Because when you're a kid, you're supposed to work with everybody as a team. Like, you're not looking at your friends as a source of competition. It was really interesting, but I remember I did so well. Like, I did enjoy it. I really liked it, but something fell off. And I remember kind of at one point when I was getting older, like before I stopped acting, I'd be around like girls my age, but they're like super skinny, had lots more experience, were modeling, were like doing all this stuff, had been booked in commercials, and I found myself getting insecure. When I started to be jealous, I'd be like, okay, well, like, what do you do? Like, what do your weekends look like? How long have you been doing this? Blah, blah, blah. And I remember this girl was just talking about how many auditions she goes to and how many classes she has to take a week and how long her classes are. And then I was like, oh, damn, that makes sense. And then in my head, I was like, okay, what about time with your friends? What about school? What about family time? And I just remember like that just really turned me off to it. Third and final takeaway was I always gave, celebrity children grace because I knew there's a lot of fucked up stuff that happened, behind the scenes and within their family. But this book really, it added to that, and it added a certain depth that I didn't have before. It's because I feel like a lot of child stars, when they get an adult, it's kind of hush hush, especially in Hollywood, because everyone got dirt on everybody. Everybody does. So there's not people that are bold enough to speak up and aren't in the position where they can turn down $300,000. Jennette touches on the fact that she turned down $300,000 in hush money to not talk about what the fuck happened at Nickelodeon. She was like, no. And then afterwards, she was like, damn, I could have paid for my nieces and nephews to go through college. But I did not, because I needed to set a precedent and I needed to stand up for myself. I feel like the realm of Hollywood is very two-dimensional. And when people speak out about stuff like this and things that they've experienced, it makes it 3D. It makes it more tangible. It makes it more real. It allows us to put ourselves in their shoes. Yeah, those are my biggest takeaways from the book, and I guess I just want to end this video by saying, if you grew up with iCarly, Sam and Cat, Zoe 101, Victorious, any of these shows that played such a pivotal role in most people in my generation's childhoods, I think it would be a very, very good read. And I feel like a lot of stuff would be answered and you'd see a lot of stuff differently, which will, if you do want to become parents or you already are parents, it will cause you to maybe monitor what your children watch, not in a conservative way, but in a place where you don't want your kids to want to be these people who you don't know what the fuck they're going through. If you just really want to get an inside look into what she's gone through and what a lot of child stars have gone through, or maybe you're looking to get into the acting realm or you're interested in getting your kids into the realm, it definitely adds a good perspective that I feel like everyone should read. If by some way, somehow, Jennette girl, you are on Vibes and Vines and you are watching this video, thank you for sharing your story. So many people are proud of you. If anyone throws negative shit your way, toss that shit in the motherfucking trash can. You are that girl, you are that human, you are that soul, that ethereal being. Thank you for coming back and supporting. If you haven't already, click that thumbs up, click that subscribe button. Who wants to be number 32? I'm just gonna start saying this every single time. Who's trying to be number 32? I got 30, 31, 32. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you coming on my journey to do something new and supporting something new, and just being with me on my journey of figuring out my channel and my brand and what I want to do. But yeah, so thank you so much. I am endlessly grateful and appreciative, and I will see y'all next week.